we'll try to understand in depth of how karma acts now, how yoga and bhakti they act for the future, and what is our goal right now. So, um, so today we will begin with just a quick summary of what we did yesterday, because that is also very, very important for us to understand. So yesterday we spoke about the the vidya and avidya, correct? So we spoke about how our thoughts are either based on vidya or avidya. So that's how our thoughts will work. So let me just share that graphic once again, and then we will share today's graphic. So let's share this. Okay, so here you go. So just to summarize what we spoke yesterday, so either our thoughts are based on vidya, that is knowledge, or avidya, ignorance. So what this does is this influences the sphere of our work. So when we are in avidya, it leads to a series of different problems that we discussed yesterday. So first it begins with the ego. So that is called as asmita. So first there is asmita, there is ego, and then ego leads to raga. Raga is attachment. This attachment then further leads to attachment, and at the same time there is also dvesha. So dvesha is aversion. So a yogi wants to avoid both. So it begins with asmita. Asmita is the attachment or the identification with the ego. And then from the asmita, he comes down to raga, or strong attachment, and then dvesha, because when you have strong attachments to pleasure, so pleasure means in this world, nobody gets only pleasure. Everybody gets pleasure and pain, both. He gets pleasure and pain, both. So this pleasure and pain, when this pain is there, so there is aversion. So in the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna explains, raga dvesha vimuktaistu vishayan indriyesh charan atma vasher vide atma prasadam adhigacchati. So one who has to conquer raga dvesha, but before that raga dvesha, the clue is it begins with identification with the body. That is avidya. So vidya means to understand I am spirit soul, I am devotee of Krishna, all these things are fine, but also at the same time one needs to act responsibly. You cannot have vidya and commit offenses. You cannot do wrong actions and get away. You have to go through the purification. So our thoughts are very influenced, or have to be based on knowledge, on vidya. So there is a sequence of results for avidya, and there is a sequence of results for vidya. So vidya means we are progressing in spiritual life, and avidya means we are not progressing in spiritual life. In fact, we are going into the cycle of more birth and death. That will become our situation. So just to summarize what we did yesterday once again, so all our thoughts, so we have thoughts. The mind cannot get away from thoughts. The mind will always have thoughts. The mind has no option. There has to be thoughts. And the thoughts are either vidya, means they are spiritually based, or they are materially based. Now, materially based depends on a degree of ignorance. So, degrees of ignorance is mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Whereas Vidya is mode of goodness. But even in the mode of goodness, one could be ignorant to a certain degree. So, for the highest benefit, even the mode of goodness, one has to come to the mode of pure goodness. So avidya leads to painful thought, like we saw yesterday, because we are always anxious, we are in enviousness. So what happens in this world is, moment you are envious, moment you are waiting to compete with somebody in this world, the moment you are agree, moment you see somebody's prosperity, you become jealous or envious. That's it. That is where it creates a samskara in the mind. I have to win this. I have to go over this. I have to achieve this. Now, when this thought becomes very prominent, that is the most dangerous. So, it is said that it begins with lust. So Krishnamacharya, in the Yoga Sutras, he explains the diseases of the mind. He explains beginning with lust. So lust means not just sexual desire. Lust means anything we want to enjoy. So Patanjali Yoga Sutras says very clearly that a goal of a yogi is to maintain the body, not simply to enjoy. Mostly people today eat to enjoy, not eat as medicine. So when that happens, when you eat, that activity itself, that enjoying mentality comes there. Whereas the preservation, meditation, so higher values of a yogi is, he always looks for every moment to get into a state of meditation. So lust, anger. So anger contains lust already. So when your lust is not satisfied, or even if it is satisfied, there is anger because there is desire for more. Then comes greed. So more and more, when it is satisfied, then it's never ending. So you see, people want to control, that is greed. When there is too much greed, this leads to attachment. So attachment means it already has lust, anger, greed in that. Then there is madness. So lust, anger, greed, madness. So they are already there. Then comes enviousness. So if you become envious, means we have all these qualities. So a yogi has to have a methodical plan to come to the mode of goodness. And it begins with food and lifestyle, the first thing. So that is why Patanjali explains a three-pronged plan to come to Vidya. So that is, first is Kriya. So first is Kriya Yoga, austerity, fasting, eating the right thing, doing yoga, meditation every day, practicing. Swadhyaya, every day one should study the scripture. And third is one should understand in depth his relationship with Ishvara or Krishna and surrender. Now coming back to today's topic. So this was what we discussed yesterday. A yogi has to have a methodical plan to control the mind. He has to, so how does this act? So that depends on our circumstances. Whom do we connect with? So that is the today's topic. So I want to share some beautiful sutras here. And these, quickly go over these. So I already discussed these topics with the graphic of yesterday. Today I want to show the verses, the sutras itself, so that we can. So today's connection begins with here. We also talked about abhinivesha, inbuilt fear. So everybody is fearful of death. Mm. So Patanjali begins with saying that here that what we have, he says, klesha moola karmashayaha drishta drishta janma vedaniyaha in the 1.12. He says that what we have today, the root cause is klesha. The root cause is klesha. Isn't it amazing that the root cause is klesha? So what do you mean by the root cause is klesha? So the root cause of all the problems that we have, so or the good things that we are experiencing, that is all klesha. So basically disturbances, they are caused by klesha. So he says klesha basically means material desire. So whom do we connect? So what happens is, because of our previous life's experiences, in this life, we get connected according to our karma. We get attracted or connected exactly according to that desire. So there is desire and there is karma. Both should be there. So he says, he is explaining here in detail. So as long as this desire is there, so basically yoga is all about purifying the desire. It's all about purifying desire. So desire is based on vidya or avidya. So our thought, everything we want to do, first begins with desire. First you desire to do something, and then you act based on it. Whom you see and you get attracted to also is based on your desire. And desire is based on the mentality that you have developed in your last life. Or the second option is how much you have been able to purify your mind. I'll give you one example here. One of my physics teachers, when I was young, so he was at the age of 55, he started going blind. So he started going blind. So he was very worried why this happened. And then he looked back at his family history, his father, his grandfather, and some of them, they also were going blind after the age of 55. And they would lose their sight and so many bad things happened. So then he went back family lineage, and he said that there was a Shiva temple with the two eyes, with the Shiva temple. And in that Shiva temple, the priests of that Shiva temple, they had a fight. And in that fight, they got so mad at each other that one of them, that is this physics teacher's senior lineage person, what he did, he broke the Shivalinga at the eye, and he blinded kind of that Shiva, took off that eyes and broke, chipped off there, and so many things he did. And in turn, the other priest, they cursed that all your lineage, they will go blind. So he was at that age. So after that age, the whole lineage, everyone started going blind. So his question was, why was I born in this lineage? Because I was born in this family, did I get this karma? or did I have, because of being born there, did I get this karma, or did I have this karma already? Very interesting question. So the answer is that nature fits everything perfectly, although it may look to be random. But nature fits everything perfectly. So, although he was born to that family, so basically he also came from such a karmic background that he definitely had that karma. And he also had the karma where he was born to this family who were also worshippers of Shiva. It was only in a moment of anger this happened. They were a pious family. And finally, this uh, karma happened to him, fructified. So it's a combination of both. You had that karma, that family had that karma, so it combined. So similarly, our attraction to something depends on our karmic uh, construction of the mind. So suppose, for example, if somebody is very good, if somebody is, just say a simple thing, just say somebody likes golfing. It's a very easy example. Somebody likes golfing. He likes all the other golfers. Somebody likes golf, he likes all the other golfers. Somebody likes boating, he likes people who boat. Or he may like it, but he may desire baseball. So he likes baseball people. So everything likes is based on desire. So to the degree we cultivate desire and act based on that desire, that immediately attracts us to something. So Patanjali explains, Sati mule tadvipako jatirayu bhogaha. So as long as we do not eliminate klesha, so the base is klesha, ignorance. So what happens is, you do in this world, remember, everything is a chain cyclic reaction. So everything is a chain cyclic reaction. You start something, it goes on a chain. One leads to another, another leads to another, another leads to another. So it is a completely cyclic chain, and it comes back. And never should somebody think that karma will not come back. Karma will come back. It is the nature of karma to come back. Karma always has to come back. So if we want to, we have to realize the root cause of this is ignorance, klesha, ego. The first result of klesha is ego. Now what happens is, the more you purify this ego, the more we purify this ego, this or vidya, by knowledge, our attraction changes, our connection changes. So he explains that what you are getting now, te ahlada paritapa phalaha punya punya hetutvat. What you are getting now is nothing but because of previous pious and impious activities gives pleasurable and fruitful results. The best way, and he's giving the clue, the root of all your attraction is see, the thing is, one of the first siddhis that a yogi gets, one of the first thing that you develop with yoga is intense concentration, and intense concentration on your own mind. to watch the movements on your own mind. That is one of the siddhis. How to watch the movement, because the mind is so full of thoughts, it's so busy. It's very difficult to control it. But a yogi slows down, comes to the mode of goodness. Then he is able to pinpoint where is he getting this attraction, where is he getting this connection from. Why am I getting attracted to this? Why am I getting repelled to this? It's because of raga, dvesha. So yogi is able to self-analyze. And that is one of the first things we will see in the next chapter. So we are in the second chapter. In the third chapter, one of the first siddhis is to be able to observe one's own mind. That's a great thing. To be able to pinpoint where, why, what, all this. The answers are within you. Interestingly, he says the answers are right within you. You know the answer. But the answers are revealed. The intuition is revealed only in the mode of goodness. The answers are only revealed in the mode of goodness, in the mode of pure goodness. So that should be our real understanding. So, before I proceed, any questions, comments at this point? Is everybody able to understand these points? Is it too difficult to understand? Should I break it down?
So Prabhu, this klesha. So klesha is the desire.
Klesha is basically not a desire. So how do you define goodness? Okay, I'll answer that. So klesha means basically that which is given to the soul. So desire is a characteristic of the soul. Okay, the soul already has desire. Remember this. There is always the soul and desire cannot be separated. Okay, so soul and desire, one person goodness may not be good to others. Okay, so soul and desire are inseparable. Okay, but what happens is there is a mirror, there is a covering to the soul. So for example, if I wear green glass, then the whole world looks green. Somebody is saying, hey, this is red. He's saying, no, it's green, it's green, it's green. You are thinking that this is my eye. You are not realizing that this is glass. You are thinking, this is what I am seeing. This is glass actually, but I am thinking this is what is the actual color. So that is called ignorance, means to think that what I am seeing, instead of thinking that this is because of the glass, I'm thinking this is what I am actually seeing. You are not realizing the mistake. So klesha means that ignorance of attaching or understanding with the self. For example, before I started reading Bhagavad Gita, I was always wondering, you are stuck up in this body. You had no clue about the soul. You had no clue about spirituality. You are only thinking, oh, this body, this friends, this, that. So that is because of attachment with the body. So what is that? That is lack of knowledge. Moment you understand, oh, I am spirit soul, immediately your outlook changes. Now you realize, oh, this is why people die, this is why people live, so all these things. So klesha is the root cause, he says. Klesha means klishta, that which causes pain, and the first influence of klesha is actually asmita. Asmita is material ego. So from ego, then you act in this world because of my ego, because of my body. Now what does my body want? I'm an Indian body. I like rice, dal, sabji, chapati, batata vada, right? I'm not much into French fries or pizza. So that is the, what do you call it, spiritual perspective. Hmm? So in the material perspective, because we identify with the body, we have all these attachment. But moment you come to the spiritual perspective, I am soul. So what do I want? Soul means I am so contaminated now. So the ego is changed now. So I think I'm the spirit soul. So what do you do in the spiritual perspective? I want to meditate on the soul. I want to realize I am the spirit soul. So how do you do that? That is why the process of purification is there, to reverse this identification with the ego. So that is called vidya. So avidya, klesha. So klesha begins with identification with the body, that is ego. So then material, the spiritual ego, that is the soul. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So the next question next question here is, how do you define goodness? So goodness means, I'm not talking about being good or bad. So goodness I am talking about is mode of goodness, mode of pure goodness. So goodness means, so in the earlier classes we had discussed that the cause of this material world is made up of three things, that is goodness, passion and ignorance. So for example, chili, when you eat too much chili is in the mode of passion. Goodness means, for example, let's say fresh fruits. So they are in the mode of goodness. So I'm not talking about good and bad activity. There is also good and bad activity, but mode of goodness means, for example, somebody who is yogi, somebody who is spiritually situated. So what happens is, he acts on a spiritual platform because of his nature. So goodness, passion, ignorance means in this world, somebody who drinks alcohol, for example, he is controlled by that alcohol. He behaves absurd. He behaves as if he's lost control. So that is mode of ignorance. You hand over your control to a certain mode. Suppose I go to a bar, then there is no control. It's not that I will go and do a controlled drinking. No, then you are influenced by everybody else. That is mode of ignorance. I go to a rock concert, then I just act crazy. Or there is no control. So you want to lose control. So that is mode of ignorance. So mode of passion. So I work very hard. I want this result. I want that result. I do this. I do that. So that is mode of passion. So mode of goodness means where we focus. That's more like a yogic lifestyle, where my goal is to focus on the self. So yogi, by the process of tapasya, so when I eat controlled. Like for example, last 7 days, I am fasting on chia seed water. That's it. Today is the 7th day. That's why I have some beard. So when we fast like this, you really realize how much we are overeating. You realize how much we are eating out of taste, just trying to engage our senses. We are trying to enjoy that food. But instead of really, a yogi means he is aware how much he needs. So he eats only that much. But instead we eat really, oh, we want to feel so full. Then we sleep. Then we want to relax. So like nowadays, because of the coronavirus, there are so many jokes. People are sitting at home and developing big bellies. They are developing big belly, big this, big that situation. It's really tough. So people are going through this mode of ignorance, where, for example, somebody he knows smoking is bad for him. But he is so addicted, he knows it's bad for him, he knows it's killing him, but he cannot do. He is helpless. So that is called mode of ignorance. But if he makes a concerted effort, he understands that, at least if he understands that how to get rid of it. So what do? So I take bath, I keep myself clean, fresh, so that taste goes away. For example, when I did yogi cleansing, I took salt water, that cleansing, you warm it, you do this, you do that. When you do the yogic cleansing, you immediately realize that there are so many things which are too spicy. But when you are just eating all the time, you realize, you don't even realize that is mode of passion. In fact, we want to add more chili, more salt to the food. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains mode of goodness means you eat sweet, fresh foods. Not sweet means not sugar sweet. Every food, if you just boil even rice or dal or different things, they are naturally little sweet. But we want to add too much chili, this, that. So mode of passion means, so when we get into mode of passion, it is very difficult to reverse it. So the process of yoga is to reverse it, to come out of mode of ignorance, to be stopped being controlled by the mode of ignorance, by which we are being attracted to. So what you are being attracted to depends on your mode. If I'm very much in the mode of ignorance, I'm attracted to very violent movies and this and that. But when I'm in the mode of goodness, so I'm attracted to maybe hearing a mantra recitation or maybe a flute recital, right? So these are three modes which are prevalent in nature. In nature, everything is made up of these modes. They are in mixed modes. So mode of goodness is the purest mode. So does that answer your question?
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Okay, the second part, to certain extent. Okay, what part is not clear? I can try to explain that. One person's goodness may not be good to others. So that part is when you are talking about mundane good and bad. So that again depends on the mode. So for example, when I started chanting Hare Krishna, or when I started doing meditation, so at that point what happened is, many people told me, is this the age to meditate, to chant? That was when I was very young. So people in the mode of passion and ignorance, they think, oh, it's time to eat and sleep and enjoy. But when you are in later age of life, you want to, let's do all this. People think like that. But if we are in the mode of goodness, we are in Vidya, we are able to see things in this world in a proper way. If you're in the mode of passion, so then in the mode of passion, all you see is success, material enjoyment. And in the mode of ignorance, you only want like somehow shortcuts for everything, enjoy, all this. So does that answer, or please feel free to ask, because questions is what makes this whole episode interesting. And meanwhile, Samraja Mataji, could you ask the question you had?
Yeah, Prabhuji. We talked about the pious or impious activities roll out as a karma in the current life. So to make the transition from mode of ignorance, passion to goodness, like just to take example of in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life, you have the incident of Nityananda Prabhu meeting Jagai Madai, and who are really led a very, very impious life, unimaginable kind of impious life. Why only at that time the Nityananda Prabhu had to meet them? Why not before? Even before that, they went to that extent. So that they have to exhaust that their intense desires they had for those kind of things in the previous life. Can we take it in that way.
Okay, so the question here is relating to an episode in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. So the question here is, why did, so there were two people, Jagai and Madhai. They went to the worst extent, and only in that condition Lord Chaitanya saved them. So why was that? So that is in a special plan by the Lord. So where, very simply speaking, even in the worst condition of life, if one surrenders to the Lord, if one practices Ishvara Pranidhana, yet he can get the highest benefits.
So as a demonstrate that.
Yes.
That Leela was done. Okay.
Yes. Just to demonstrate the highest,
Even the most fallen soul will be saved if they surrender.
Yes. Even the worst of the worst can get the highest mercy. That was the reason that Leela was conducted. Okay. So just to show an example, because when we always say something, when the Lord says something, or whenever somebody says something, an example is better than, example is, what is the famous saying? Precept. Precept. Precept means setting an example. Now, the next, what is that? Now, to the degree what we get attracted to in this world is defined in this world, in this verse. Parinama tapa samskara dukkaihi gunavritti virodhacha dukkham eva sarvam vivekinaha. So basically he says that, once again, this verse is coming back to the modes of nature. So this explains that what we get attracted to basically is parinama tapa. So tapa means like pain, heat, burning. So they turned on the heat on him, means they made him suffer. Samskara dukkhaihi. So the thing is, we all know that in this material world, for every enjoyment there is suffering. Every drunkard knows it's bad. Only when your mode of ignorance is very high, you will think that even drinking is good for you. But in general, all of us know that eventually in this world there has to be pain. Now, an intelligent person is not fearful. An intelligent yogi, he is not fearful. He makes a sattvic solution. So whenever there is a problem, everyone goes to two extents in life, depending on the mode you are in. So when the greatest challenge comes in front of you, so you either go to the mode of ignorance or you go to the mode of goodness. So, for example, when you are depressed, what you do? A yogi, what he does, if he remembers anything wrong from his previous life, from his, even within this life, his previous actions, what he does, he focuses on remedying them. He goes on sattvic mode. He goes to the Ganga, he takes bath, he sits in meditation, he purifies himself and he comes out of it. That is the mode of a yogi. That is the life of a yogi. A bhogi, on the other hand, a person, whenever there is stress, like in South Korea, it is very common, if you see videos in South Korea, it is very common that every night, because they work almost 12 to 14 hours every day in South Korea, it is a custom to drink every night. And for the whole office, for the whole group of people to go and end the day, and they have devised such a cheap liquor, like $1 one bottle. They just binge drink, because you cannot work 16 hours, 14 hours every day. You have no family life, you have nothing. All you are doing is work, 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 work. And you are living with people who are just you are working with. There is no love and affection. So then the solution is mode of ignorance. So a yogi's solution is to see through this mode of ignorance and to come to the mode of goodness. So goodness means he knows I have a problem. Now if I go to the mode of ignorance, it makes it worse. Let me go to the mode of goodness and try to overcome that problem. So mode of goodness means, so Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. So mode of goodness means, this I did not define earlier. So mode of goodness means, what do you call that? Lagu Prakashakam. Lagu Prakashakam, light and full of knowledge. So there is light and there is knowledge. Lagu Prakashakam. Sattvam Lagu Prakashakam. And passion means getting heavier, because we are always balancing between our desires when they are very, very deep, very, very strong. I have to buy this house. I have to do this. I have to achieve this. These are very strong, passionate desires. Whereas mode of goodness means, okay, I will try my best, but my main business in life is to meditate and evolve yogically. And within my hard work, whatever I get is enough. Whatever in my hard work, whatever I get is enough. So that is mode of goodness. I don't over strive. But mode of passion, I strive. I try to go beyond what my level of karma is. I try for it. I overwork. So what happens when you give time for that? You lose time for yogic meditation. So then mode of passion increases. Once you get more attached, once you get dvesha, raga, dvesha, competition, fighting, so then you get into mode of ignorance, enviousness, competition. So one has to transform, the yogi has to transform. But for that, he has to see that all this achievement, ultimately it doesn't lead to real happiness. He has to see that. So he says the power of discrimination, to see that the highest gain is perfect clarity of mind, pure intelligence. Pure intelligence means, other day I was listening today to Radhanath Swami, and he was saying that if one cannot find happiness within himself, he cannot find it anywhere else. So mode of goodness means you find satisfaction and you go more internal, because there is a lot to explore in the yogic levels. There is a lot to explore within the mind, within the intelligence, and there is a greatest opportunity to realize the soul. Now, to which mode we are in, we get attracted to that. Like, for example, I was listening to a shairi, and I listened to the first line, I was very happy. But the second line was shocking. So the first line, he said, "Sharab buri cheez hai." So I thought, oh, this guy is speaking sense. Sharab buri cheez hai. So he's doing in a Kavi Sammelan Mela. He's saying, Sharab buri cheez hai, khatam kar de, khatam karni chahiye. I thought, wow, he's speaking. So I was eager for the next line. What is it saying? So he said, ek bottle tum khatam karo, ek bottle main khatam karo. So he was just trying to share that you drink one bottle, I drink one bottle. So this is only in mode of ignorance, where you are not realizing, although you may realize, but what else is there in life. So that is ignorance. So when one knows the higher value of life, that is knowledge. So he says, depending on the knowledge and the level of ignorance, your attraction, your focus, this changes. Okay. How to balance with all? People are content with material things, but not food. How to balance with all? So how to balance with all? So basically, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains very beautifully that balance means it has to be a complete lifestyle. Because we may desire, I want to meditate on the soul. I want to meditate on intelligence. I want to focus on my spiritual self. We may desire. So we may have a lot of desires to elevate ourselves, but that should be in action. So balance means in action. So we may think. So in mode of ignorance, somebody thinks, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this, then procrastinates. Mode of passion, he does, but he does it with a serious intention. Means it's like over pushing, overdoing, all these things. But mode of goodness, he achieves balance. Mode of goodness, he understands what he's doing and does it to the degree. Even eating, you are aware. Whatever you do, you are aware. So that is mode of goodness. So to achieve this balance, Krishna says, begin with food. So one has to, for example, control the tongue. One should not eat foods that are too spicy, too heavy. Your food is 50% of your lifestyle. 50%. In fact, more than that. So if food is controlled, you cook food very cleanly, very sattvic food, you offer it to Krishna, and after offering that food, you honor it very nicely, focused eating, all that. It's so beneficial. On Ekadashi, you fast, on certain days you fast, so you focus on fasting, meditation. So as you increase the second thing is this food, quality of food that you consume, that immediately affects your sleep and your activities also. Because if you are fit, if you feel light, so imagine you eat very heavy, then what happens? You need some small sleep, you are little unbalanced, all these things will happen, right? So if we do not want such a situation, if we want to remain balanced, so first we begin with control of food. For that we should know what is sattvic food, what is healthy food. That is why we wrote our book, Krishna Yoga, this food for the soul. Because in that you can fast, you can have sattvic food, you can cleanse. So in the yoga world, you first begin with cleansing, dhauti, neti, you do all the cleansing, and then you get your body clean, and then you are addicted to only good foods. That's why he says, for example, one should avoid future miseries through yoga. Heyam dukkham anagatam. So one who understands that the more I indulge in these pleasures, the more attached I will be, and the more suffering that awaits me. So what I do is I become very detached. So you understand, but it's very difficult to. So at one point, you need a little drastic action. If you really want to do it, like today, I have to do it. Just like I wanted to fast many days, I wanted to do, but one day I said, okay, this is going overboard. I need to do this fasting to completely control, to completely detox and focus. So I said, okay, today I'm starting my fasting. And once I started, and that's it, I've completely focused on that. And of course, my wife and the children, they have to cook, they have to eat. But yes, if you are determined, then you won't get attracted. You just have to focus that I know this is good. And gradually, as you see slight improvements, as you see these improvements within you, then it gives you the impetus to go further. So you must have, I don't know if you saw some Navy officer in YouTube, in Facebook, there was a very big, very nice video, and he said that if you want to change your life, begin with making your bed first. So as soon as we go, so every little activity builds up the mind. So every little activity builds up the mind. And then it becomes a part of your thought process. This is how I want to do. For example, for everything, if you keep on seeking shortcuts, if you are eating in anxiety, if you are running around, if you are not focused, then what happens? So that's why the term today, mindfulness, is very famous, because we really have to be aware. In Buddhism, there is Vipassana meditation, where people sit and silently sit in maunam and just watch their mind and really see a pattern of how we think. So first, when there is food control, even if you see Dhruva Maharaj's history, he begins with food control. So when you control food, everything else begins to fall in place. So everything begins with food control. And then as we control the food, we exercise. We have to exercise, we have to take a walk, we have to fresh, we have to detach, we have to just leave everything, we have to spend enough time self-meditating. How am I going? Am I feeling? So when you self-reflect, that's how you find balance. So you eat light, you exercise, and you self-reflect. And then you will see the gradual, and at the same time, you should also seek advice, or if you are connected with yogis, friends. Just like today morning, one of my friends, he put on Facebook, my yogic friends, I practiced yoga yesterday, today I'm feeling all sore, should I do it today? So then I told him, yeah, take little magnesium tablets and continue doing today. Don't stop, do it every day. And he said he felt much better. So similarly, we should have friends who are on that platform. In the Yoga Sutras, it says that one should become friends with one who is advanced in yoga. So, and one should, he explains different types of relationship, but he says the one who is your close friend should be the one who is advanced in yoga, who is your really good friend. And then that will inspire you. You should meditate on people who have applied, like Krishnamacharya or Prabhupada, or nice yogis, devotees who achieved success by bringing these principles. And when you think of them, you also feel like doing that. So it's a combination of control, inspiration, and action. It's all three. Takes a bit of time, takes a bit of study, but once you implement it, it becomes successful. Is it every day? You mean the class? Yes, the class I'm doing till April 30th, 5 p.m. every day. I am doing this. 5 to, usually by 6 I try to wind up, but usually by 6:15, 6:30 we should be done. So for today's session, so I would like to, before we start the Yoga Nidra, so I do a 10-15 minute Yoga Nidra in the end, meditation. You can, if you have time, you can stay for that also. Self meditation. So I do that in the end. So any questions or comments before we go into Yoga Nidra? Anybody else? Okay, so no questions or comments. Let me let us begin the Yoga Nidra practice. So thank you for joining, and now let us focus on deep breathing and 10 minutes deep breath meditation. So completely focus on your throat. Deep breathing. Relax. Inhale and exhale. Deep breathing. As you breathe in and out, meditate on your throat. Feel your throat relaxing. Fully breathe in and out. Meditate on your throat region. Deeply breathe in and out. Focus on your breathing. Feel very relaxed. Inhale and exhale deeply. Throughout the practice of Yoga Nidra, keep your breath deep. Focus. We are going to do a short, quick Yoga Nidra. So completely focus on your breath. Now focus on all the toes of your feet. Feel all the toes relaxing. Now both the soles of your feet, heels, ankles, calves, knees, thighs, buttocks. Fully breathe in and out. Feel the entire part of your body between the buttocks to the tip of the toe completely relaxed. Now meditate on both your hands. Just touch the thumb and the forefinger. Now meditate deeply. Feel the palms relaxing. Focus on your wrists, forearms, elbows, biceps, triceps, shoulders. Now go down to your abdomen, lower abdomen, belly, upper abdomen, chest, neck, chin, lips, cheeks, ears, eyes, temples, eyebrows, in between the eyebrows, forehead, top of the head, back of the head, the entire back of your body, legs. Deep breathing. Gradually focus on your heart. Feel your heart relaxing. The heart is the seat of prana, the mind, the soul, and the Supreme Soul. Deeply breathing, meditate. Fully relax. Your mind in the mode of goodness will reflect the soul. So let us resolve to implement mode of goodness in our lives. Wake up early, practice yoga, meditate, deep breathing, increasing prana, increasing thought. Meditate on Ishvara, Paramatma, Krishna, who is in the heart. In his beautiful form, next to the soul, always eager to bless the soul. May Lord Krishna's blessings always be upon you. And may he always give you strength. So with this, we will stop here. Feel fully relaxed, energized, and in a grateful mood. Open your eyes, fully relaxed, energized, ready to move in the force of yoga. May the force of yoga always be with you. Hare Krishna. So I will stop here. Thank you all for joining, and it's time to see each other and wave goodbye. Thank you, Gagandeep ji, Samrajya ji,
Thank you so much.
Rishikesh, everybody for joining, and see you all tomorrow, same time, and we'll continue with these wonderful topics. Hare Krishna.